Hello guys, how are we getting on? You're very welcome back to another episode of The Verdict, the final verdict of the 2018 FIFA World Cup. And today, this morning, we're waking up to new world champions. France were crowned champions of the world last night in the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow as they beat Croatia 4-2 in an incredible World Cup final. A final fitting to match what was an incredible tournament overall. Also in this video I will discuss the third place playoff as Belgium took on England on Saturday. So yeah, let's get right into it. So let's start off with Saturday then. The third place playoff, Belgium took on England. Now the third place playoff admittedly is a game that neither of these sides want to be in. They obviously all want to be in the one on Sunday, but unfortunately for Belgium and England they both fell at the last hurdle. So they had to face off and compete for third place. Belgium won it by 2-0 thanks to goals from Thomas Meunier and Eden Hazard, one in each half. Kevin De Bruyne playing a starring role in the game. And England now, overall, I think they're the same amount of defeats in the tournament as the likes of Egypt and Panama. They were defeated by Belgium in the group stage as well. And then obviously defeated by Croatia in the semi-final. And now Belgium in the third place playoff. So, I mean, and probably a bitter end to what's been a fairly sweet tournament for England. Many people might have thought I was a little bit harsh on them in the last episode, but to be honest, I don't think I was. I think England tend to do this when there's a little bit of promise in the team. They build them up, they hype them up, and in the end, a chance went to begging, and a chance that this particular pool of England players might not get again. Although it is a fairly young squad, so you can imagine the majority of this squad will play in Qatar in 4 years' time, and I'd imagine Gareth Southgate, if he's not the Real Madrid manager by then, I'd imagine he'll be the manager in 4 years' time as well. So I mean that's good news for England fans, and I think a lot of England's success this tournament has been based on the fact that Southgate has coached a lot of them players in the under-21s and has brought them all up to the first team. You're looking at the likes of Lingard, Rashford, you know, all these types of players, Sterling as well, and you know, the likes of Phil Foden, Jadon Sancho, Ryan Sessegnon, they're all going to come into the squad, probably, if not for the Euros in 2020, definitely for the World Cup in Qatar in 2022. If they're really the real deal, they'll want to be making that squad in 4 years' time. As for Belgium, their best ever finish in a World Cup, it's nice to see. It's a very good squad of players. In 2014 there was a lot of pressure on them to deliver. That was the golden age. This is still that same pool of players, the same golden era, and they've delivered at this World Cup. I think I've been very impressed with them. Their style of football has been entertaining to watch. Probably the most entertaining of all the teams, although eventual champions France have certainly progressed as the tournament has gone on. But Belgium, I've been very impressed with, and if this squad of players is going to be the same one for Qatar in 4 years' time, you know, I wouldn't bank against them going even further and maybe going one step further and getting to the final in 4 years' time. I think Roberto Martinez, before the tournament, people underestimated him and his abilities as a coach. I know from my perspective, certainly I did. As far as I was concerned, Roberto Martinez is a meme. A lot of slack at Everton became a parody for a lot of people, but I think he shut a lot of people up in this tournament. And you know, there was a stage where there was a thought that it could be Gareth Southgate versus Roberto Martinez in the World Cup final, and that is a scary prospect if you consider, you know, if you would have looked at it a few years ago and seen, oh, 2018 Martinez and Southgate in the final. It wasn't, but you know, with the way Belgium and England played at this particular World Cup, it would have been no surprise that they did. And I think for me personally, England should have beaten Croatia in the semi-finals. Easily could have put them away, but it wasn't to be. So England finished 4th and Belgium finished 3rd. Fantastic tournaments for both. For England fans, you know, they were certainly let to believe again. Certainly the belief was gone after the 2014 World Cup loss in the group stage, out in the group stage of that particular World Cup, and then further pain inflicted after a defeat to Iceland in Euro 2016 as well. So things are looking up for England. Obviously the youth teams are doing very well as well, so it will be interesting to see how many of them progress. Obviously I've mentioned just a few names in Sancho, Sessegnon, Foden, that kind of creative player that I think England probably lacked in this World Cup, but exciting times for England fans nonetheless. So let's move on to the final then, the World Cup final, the biggest game in world football. France versus Croatia full house at the Luzhniki Stadium, fantastic atmosphere. Was really looking forward to this game, and it's fair to say it delivered. France took the lead early on thanks to an own goal by Mario Mandzukic of all people, and I'm sure the laughs were aplenty in England at that time, obviously after breaking their hearts in the semi-final. Then, to be fair to Croatia, they pulled it back. Perisic with a fantastic volley equalised. It wasn't long then before he gave away a penalty up the other end, Ivan Perisic, and Antoine Griezmann converted that. And this being the World Cup, and the World Cup that it's been, with VAR being a massive influence in it, it was nearly a shoe-in that it was going to play some sort of role in the final, and that it did. The referee originally didn't judge the handball by Perisic as a handball, but then went back to give it. I think it's a tough one for Croatia to take. There's not an awful lot Perisic can do, but when you do look back at the VAR, his hand is like that, and I think Didi Hamann mentioned it on RTE's coverage. If your team was playing and that had happened, you'd easily be shouting for a penalty, and France got their penalty, and Griezmann scored it and did a fortnight celebration, which further emphasises how much that stupid game has taken over the world. But anyway, moving on, it was already a more exciting encounter than the 2014 final between Germany and Argentina. Then France took a 3-1 lead thanks to Paul Pogba with a brilliant finish. He had a fantastic game and a fantastic tournament. And I think this could be a message for Jose Mourinho coming up in the season. Just let Pogba do what he wants. He's good enough. He has the ability. I think Jose has been too strict with him at Manchester United. He's trying to play him in a certain position, kind of in the 6, the Kante sort of role, and I don't think he's able to do that. And he hasn't been able to fully flourish and express himself at United. So yeah, I think it's food for thought for Jose for the coming season. He could alter Pogba's position, especially with the arrival of Fred as well. It'll certainly be interesting to see what he does for United this season. But anyway, Pogba scored a brilliant goal. Mbappe then made it 4. Fantastic player. What a player Kylian Mbappe is. He won the young player of the tournament, and deservingly so. What a player. He's more than just pace. I mentioned it in a video before. He has a great footballing brain, fantastic finisher, great pace, great skill, and he just looks the all-round package. And for me, when Messi and Ronaldo are gone, he is going to be the one that takes that reign. I think it could be a battle between him and Neymar for the next couple of Ballon d'Ors once Messi and Ronaldo subside. But he made it 4, and then it all looked home and dry for France. But Hugo Lloris decided to replicate his mistake against Sweden, if you all remember that from I think it was the qualifiers from this World Cup. Mandzukic then scored from that mistake. Yeah, 4-2 then is how it finished. To be fair to Croatia, they really did put in so much effort, and it's clear that they were tiring because of, obviously going all the way in, was it 3 games they went all the way in? As far as they went 120 minutes against Denmark, Russia and England, and penalties in 2 of them. So it was clear that the Croatians were going to fatigue. They still put in a maximum amount of effort. Luka Modric in midfield is a stunning player. He really is a fantastic player, and it was a really nice moment for me to see him win the Golden Ball. I don't know if any of you have read his backstory, but if you haven't, go read it. It really is inspirational stuff, and I was delighted to see him win the Golden Ball, to be honest with you. By far and away the best player at this tournament. Mbappe could have easily got it, but I think they wanted to give him the young player and give Modric, of course, the player of the tournament. Golden Glove went to Chelsea keeper Thibaut Courtois of Belgium as well, and Harry Kane got the Golden Boot without even being at his best, and that could be the frightening thing. I think he scored 3 penalties at this World Cup, 2 of them against Panama, 1 against Colombia, and there was also a goal against Panama for his hat-trick where Loftus-Cheek hits it and it just flicks off his heel and in. But you know you're a good player when you're not playing well and you're still winning the Golden Boot with the World Cup. So what a World Cup! What a World Cup it was. Kind of sad to see it go. Now club football will be returning very soon. I think this Friday coming it'll be 3 weeks until the start of the new Premier League season. It's flown back in very quickly. I think August 9th is the start date for the new season, so that should be interesting. I will do a verdict probably in the next few days, if not tomorrow, maybe the next day, about club football. There's been so much going on, but I said I'd dedicate this video to the World Cup final. So There'll be a lot to talk about in that, including like Ronaldo, Maurizio Sarri. I'll get into it all in tomorrow's video or the next day, whatever it does come out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please do smash that like button and subscribe if you're new. Hope you enjoyed the World Cup. I certainly know I did. And yeah, I'll catch you there.
Hands up for your colours.